Surah Yusuf. Many of them, mashallah. As Allah says, Ahsan al-Qasas, the most beautiful of stories. Now, continuing on. So she attempts to seduce Yusuf. Yusuf rejects, right? Eventually, Zulaykha, so we also hear now, we also see now how, so she's rejected because Yusuf rejects her, and the Aziz, or the man of the house, he figures this out, but Yusuf, the issue is, we also see here, like, human beings being human beings, the story gets out that it's found out that the ruler, his wife, is chasing after this young Israeli boy. I mean, that's the story, right? So this story gets out and becomes the talk of the town. So Allah says, وَقَالَ نِسْوَةٌ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ امْرَأَةُ الْعَزِيزِ تُرَاوِدُ فَتَاهَا عَنْ نَفْسِهِ قَدْ شَغَفَهَا حُبًّا إِنَّا لَنَرَاهَا فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. So there are women in the town, the sort of the women who, I mean, in all honesty, these are women who looking for dirt on the neighbor, effectively, right? It happens. We're human beings. They're human beings. قالت نسوة في المدينة امرأة العزيز تراود فتاها عن نفسه. So the wife of Al-Aziz, if you heard the story, the wife of Aziz, she tried to seduce her, her male servant. She tried to seduce him. Did you hear? قد شغفها حبا, hence sort of overflowing with love, and also she's so infatuated with him. Did you hear the story? إِنَّا لَنَرَاهَا فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. We see her as being someone who's in clear error. How could she do such a thing, right? So she hears this, of course, Zulaykha, she hears the story, and she also plots. She plots for them. So she فَلَمَّا سَمِعَتْ بِمَكْرِهِنْ أَرْسَلَتْ إِلَيْهِنْ وَأَعْتَدَتْ لَهُنْ مُتَّكِئًا وَآتَتْ كُلَّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِّنْهُنَّ سِكِينًا. So when she hears about what they were saying, that they're talking about her, right? She decides to call a banquet. She calls a banquet, and she gives every one of them a place to sit, and she gives every one of them a knife that they can sort of cut up the fruits, and sort of sit around and talk and relax, and this is what they think it's going to be. Then she commands Yusuf, come out to see the women, right? So Yusuf, he is Zulaykha's servant at the end of the day. He's a male servant in this household. So Yusuf listens. He comes out. فَلَمَّا رَأَيْنَهُ أَكْبَرْنَهُ وَقَطَّعْنَ أَيْدِيَهُنْ وَقُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ مَا هَذَا بَشَرًا إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا مَلَكٌ كَرِيمٌ. So when they see Yusuf, they're so astounded by Yusuf's beauty that they forget that they have knives in their hand, and they're cutting the fruit, and eventually they start cutting their hands. They don't even feel them cutting they don't feel themselves cutting their fingers. This is what the Quran says. They don't even feel it. That they completely oblivious to the pain that they were feeling. This is the beauty of Yusuf, subhanAllah. So they say this is not a man. This is actually an angel. This is an ennobled angel. Zulaykha then, she takes a retribution and sort of throws it back in their faces. She says, قالت فذلكن الذي لمتنني فيه. This is what you are blaming me for, right? وَلَقَدْ رَاوَدْتُهُ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ فَاسْتَعْصَى. And I tried to seduce him, but he didn't accept. And if he doesn't listen to me, he's going to be put in prison, or he's going to be made of those who may be debased. So Yusuf, he then makes a dua to Allah that Allah saves him from their plots and the planning. That Allah saves him from that. Then Yusuf is put into jail. So Yusuf is put into jail. This is fast forwarding here. This is sort of we're taking more time to read this story because it's such a beautiful story. So Yusuf, he's put into jail, and immediately when he's put into jail, the people can see his righteousness, that Yusuf is different. There's something else about him, and that he also becomes known for interpreting dreams in jail. Right? So he interprets people's dreams for them. But he has a particular way of interpreting dreams, right? He has a particular way that to outline it, basically Yusuf, first and foremost, he teaches Tawheed. He teaches that Allah is one, right? So this is Yusuf's tariq in teaching, interpreting dreams. That any dream, any experience it should be meant to affirm that Allah is one, and also clarify your relationship to Him, and maybe understand maybe future events, but that the dreams, it's a gift that Allah is taught. He's speaking to you, right? So we're going to see how Allah is speaking to two men who are in the prison. So Yusuf says to these two men who come to him, one sees that birds are eating from some bread that's apparently on his head. So the birds are eating from it. The other one sees that he's squeezing wine, or he's squeezing grapes to eventually make wine. So they see this. Yusuf says, I will interpret this for you, right? But before he interprets it, he says to them, my Lord has taught me the interpretation of the dreams. It's highlighting now that this isn't some hocus pocus. This is not soothsaying, fortune telling. This is something else. This is a divinely inspired knowledge. This is science. This isn't soothsaying. And it's important that we make that differentiation, right? Inni taraktu millata qawmin la yu'minuna billah. So I'm completely innocent, and tabarra'tu, it means like basically I've left and completely free from any people who do not believe in Allah, and they don't not believing in the akhirah, the next life, right? So I've left this sort of way, right? And I'm innocent of it. So he's teaching them tawheed here, teaching them to believe in the akhirah and to be believers. وَاتَّبَعْتُ مِلَّةَ آبَائِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ مَا كَانَ لَنَا أَن نُشْرِكَ بِاللَّهِ مِن شَيْءٍ. So we see here that Yusuf, he says, and I followed the way of my forefathers, Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub, these righteous prophets. مَا كَانَ لَنَا أَن نُشْرِكَ بِاللَّهِ مِن شَيْءٍ. It was never for us to ever associate any partners with Allah whatsoever. ذَلِكَ مِن فَضْلِ اللَّهِ عَلَيْنَا وَعَلَى النَّاسِ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَشْكُرُونَ. This is amongst the bounties that Allah has bestowed upon me, and also upon all people. It's just the case that most people do not give thanks. So here we have the general idea that Allah conveys in the Quran, that we shouldn't be following most people. Most people, every time you see akthar nas in the Quran, it's never something good. Most people, it's never something good. If you see most people, it's never something good. So most people shouldn't shape the way we approach our lives, is what Allah is telling us. So Yusuf highlights that shirk is something abominable. Don't commit shirk with Allah. Don't do it. And if you believe in shirk, if you believe in other gods beside Allah, it's something you should really leave, right? And we're going to see why this is important, because one of the men is actually going to be sentenced to die, and Yusuf is telling him, don't die as a polytheist. Do not die as a polytheist. Be a monotheist. Be a muwahhid. Be a person of tawheed, right? Ya صاحب السجن أرباب متفرقون خير أم الله الواحد القهار. So Yusuf says to them, are varying lords, multiplicity in lords, multiple lords, mutafarriqun, each lord doing its separate own thing. Is this better, or belief in the one God, the conquering, the one overpowering God who is dominant over all things? ما تعبدون من دونه إلا أسماء سميتموها أنتم وآباؤكم ما أنزل الله بها من سلطان. Anything that you worship other than Him are simply names that you've named, and also your forefathers have named. There's no reality there, and Allah also hasn't given you any authority to be worshiping those things. إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. The affair or the ultimate authority in such things is only for Allah. So we can't make up what we want to worship. Allah, He tells us how we worship, and He teaches us the straight path. أَمَرَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. He's commanded that we worship none but Him. ذَلِكَ الدِّينُ الْقَيِّمُ. This is the true and the upright religion. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Except it's the case, again, that most people don't have any knowledge. They don't know anything. Most people are ignorant. Most people could care less. Most people are worried about just the price of tomatoes, or the price of, or just they're worried about things that are material. They're not worried about the akhirah. They're not worried about their relationship with Allah, or even thinking about why they exist, their purpose, their identity. They're not thinking about these things. This is the status of most people. So don't be like most people. Be amongst what the Prophet, Allah said, talks about in the Quran as being those who are the qaleel, right? The group that is the saved group. Ya sahibay sijni amma ahadukuma fayasqi rabbahu khamra. So he then goes on to explain the dreams. After giving the tawheed, after talking about proper belief, you're sort of setting the stage that you understand these properly, right? And this is important. This is sort of deeper metaphysics now. But as it concerns like dreams, it can be a source, even if a dream is true, it can be a source of misguidance. If you approach that dream or that vision without proper understanding that Allah is one, it can lead to misguidance. Iblis can take something that's true and take you to hellfire with it, right? You can use something that's true, misconstrue it, twist it, and bring you into hellfire, right? So for example, you may see Jesus, maybe people in the past, they saw Jesus bring the dead back to life, right? Iblis would say, he must be a God, then he brought that body back to life. He's a God, say he's son of God, and this sort of thing. So even if you see a vision, or you see something grand or from the unseen, you still have to have the monotheistic perspective in understanding that particular thing. This is why Yusuf starts with the tawheed, the importance of believing Allah is one, testifying that He is one, right? On top of the fact that one of them is going to die soon, so that they should you should believe in the one God. So the interpretation of one dream is that one person will be freed, the other will be crucified. Now, continuing on, so there are other dreams that Yusuf interprets, and Yusuf interprets a dream for the ruler. He interprets this dream